Hello everyone, I am Dr. Soumya Das, Associate Professor, Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology, Greater Noida. So students, I will teach you the subject Pharmacovigilance, final year B Pharmacy subject with code BP 805 ET. And we cover unit 2, already lecture number 9, 10. So today we will discuss about lecture 11. The topic of today's lecture is WHO adverse reaction terminologies. So I hope you all know about what is exactly the WHO ADR, we can say in short. WHO stands for World Health Organization and ADR is adverse drug reaction. So before going in detail about the adverse drug reactions and adverse drug events, I hope you already differentiate these two terminologies like ADR and ADE. So today in this PPT we will study in detail about various different terminologies basically we are using to study in detail about the subject pharmacovigilance. So let us start. Pharmacovigilance. I hope you all know what exactly the pharmacovigilance means. Pharmacon student means drug and vigilance means to keep eye or to keep a watch on the drug. So as we are pharmacologists and we focus basically on the drug and its mechanism, not only its therapeutic part, we have to focus about its unwanted deleterious effects side also, which is known as the undesirable or risk factors which is associated with the population or the patients taking the medicine. So now starting with various terminologies. So student, these are universally acceptable terminologies basically used in studying the pharmacovigilance, or the pharmacovigilance is earlier known as the PMS. I hope you know PMS stands for post marketing surveillance, which is nothing but the clinical trial phase 4. Okay students. So nowadays the PMS name changed from PV. PV is the pharmacovigilance. So about its terminology, when we are talking about, these are terminologies are universally accepted and as per WHO guidelines. So these are a list of abbreviations, means the short forms along with the acronyms found in the field of or connected with the subject pharmacovigilance. So we will start one by one. The first one is the ACT. Capital ACT. ACT means students Artemisinin based combination therapy. So Artemisinin is the drug, widely used drug of anti-malarial category. Okay. So I hope malaria, you know, the Plasmodium falciparum, the causative agent of malaria. So for the treatment of malaria, in case of subchronic or chronic conditions, the patients are treated with Artemisinin prolonged therapy. So ACT means Artemisinin based combination therapy. Next, coming to the second, ADE. ADE is adverse drug event, or sometimes in some different books or references you will also get its full name as adverse drug effects. Next is the adverse drug reaction, which is nothing but the ADR. So student, here I want to tell you the basic difference between the adverse drug reaction and the adverse drug event. So adverse drug reaction means when we are going to take any medicament against any disease or ailment, the drug goes dissociate inside our body, it binds with the specific receptor site. After that it will produce two type of effects. Yes, one is desirable or the therapeutic pharmacological effect, and the second one is the undesirable, unwanted or the toxic lethal effects. So adverse drug reaction means adverse, which is we do not want, unpleasant, noxious response from the medicament, that is adverse drug reaction. And students, the ADR is directly related with the pharmacology of the API of the drug. API means active pharmaceutical ingredient, which is the main medicament or pharmacologically active moiety of the drug. And the second term is ADE. So students, ADE is the adverse drug events or sometimes it is also known as adverse drug effect. So, it is different from ADR. How? I am telling you, ADE is not directly related to the pharmacology of the active ingredient of the drug moiety. Okay. Like for example, I am telling you one example, like I have taken antipyretic. I am feeling in the morning little bit fever. So, I will take antipyretic drug, and after that I want to go outside. So, I took my vehicle or I go down by the stairs. What sometimes we will feel dizziness, drowsiness, or I escaped from the stairs. So, this is not related to the antipyretic drug or the paracetamol, whatever the antipyretic I am taken in the morning. It is the adverse drug event which is not directly or not importantly associated with the therapeutic or the pharmacology nature of the active moiety of the drug. So, this is the basic difference between adverse drug event and the adverse drug reaction. Now, coming to the next is AEFI, which is the adverse event following immunization. So, again I am telling you, like nowadays we are facing the pandemic condition, affected, so many peoples are affected from COVID-19, okay, or SARS-CoV-2 virus, you all know about it. So, we are going to take immunization. Immunization are of two types, one is active and the passive, okay, which is also known as the innate immunity or the acquired immunity. So, for these type of immunity, we have to enhance our immune system. We are going to take immune or vaccine, we are enhancing our immune system. So, the adverse events following immunization means after taking any vaccines, after immunization, vaccination, what different type of adverse effects or unwanted side effects we are facing. So, this is AEFI. Now, coming to the next one, BMA. BMA is the British Medical Association. So, dealing with the pharmacovigilance subject, students, we are not talking about any specific country, like not only for the India, we are following the GHS system here. So, GHS means globally harmonized system, where we are talking about different countries like US, Japan, European Union, America, Britain, China. So, BMA here stands for the British Medical Association. Next one is the API. You all know about API. API is nothing but the active pharmaceutical ingredient as per WHO guidelines, World Health Organization. So, active pharmaceutical ingredient is the main therapeutical pharmacological moiety of the medicament which is liable or responsible to show the change when we are going to take the particular medicament against any disease or disorder. Okay, students. Next is the ART. So, RT say you have to remember, A means antiretroviral therapy, R is the retroviral infection. Like for example, we have various viral infections. Again, I am talking about the COVID-19. So, SARS-CoV-2, it is the SARS virus. Okay. So, antiretroviral therapy, antivirus therapy. Next is the ARV, antiretrovirals. It may be any vaccines, immunizations, or it may be any form of drug, maybe capsules, tablets. Like for example, I hope you covered in your B Pharmacy 6th semester the antiviral drugs. Like for example, you have zidovudine or lamivudine. These are widely antiretroviral drugs used for the HIV or AIDS therapy. Okay, students. Next come to the ATC. I hope most of you remember this ATC because we have covered this ATC in our lecture number 10 in our just previous lecture. So, ATC full form is the Anatomical, Therapeutic and Chemical Classification of Drugs. So, when we are talking about drugs and disease classification, we have to separate different class of or we can say the different categories of drugs according to its anatomical features, means the etiology, the therapeutic class means like CNS, GI, urogeneratory or CVS, the therapeutic nature of the drug according to its mode or mechanism of action, and the chemical classification means the active chemical moiety or the group which is showing its therapeutic efficacy. So, it is the anatomical, therapeutic and chemical classification of drug is ATC. Okay, students. Next, continuing this terminologies, CDC, it is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That is why it is written centers, because CDC are located at different countries with different names at different places. Okay, next is CEM. So, CEM stands for students Cohort Event Monitoring. So, you have to remember like this, Cohort Event Monitoring. So, cohort is the terminology basically used in the subject pharmacoepidemiology. So, pharmacoepidemiology, if we again break this large word, pharmacon means drug, epidemiology logy means study, epidemiology means the large population based study. So, when any same kind of like again for this pandemic situation, the COVID infection area, the same causative agent or the etiological factor is affecting a large number of population globally, okay, or when we are talking about a specific country. So, the area covered by a or the causative agent affected a large number of population is known as the pharmacoepidemiological studies. So, I am telling you about the cohort. Cohort is a term coming under pharmacoepidemiological studies, and it means student the case control and the case series studies. So, cohort studies are two types. One is prospective cohort studies and the second one is known as the retrospective cohort studies. So, prospective means students in the forward or in the above straight line same direction, while the retrospective study is the backward direction. Backward means now I am affected from a certain disease. Again the physician or the paramedical healthcare staff have to detect after checking my symptoms, sign and symptoms, that what are the causes or the incubation period of the infective organism affected me, so that I reach to this condition, that is retrospective backward study. And the forward means now I am going to enter in a particular area which is affected from specific infection or disease like malaria or chicken pox or chikungunya. I am going to that place. So, still I am not affected, but I have to go that place by taking proper immunization, so that my immunity will be strong and I am not affected from that particular disease or infection. So, that is prospective forward direction studies. So, this is the CEM means cohort event monitoring. It is very important while dealing with the pharmacovigilance studies to check individual patients or to observe, to properly monitor for the CEM. Next, coming to the CEN. It is the abbreviation or the terminologies given by the European Committee, which is in short known as EC, capital EC, European Committee for the Standardization of Different Class of Drugs, we can say medicaments or medical devices. Next is the CHMP. C stands for committee, okay, Committee on Medicinal Products for Human Use. Again you will see here in the bracket it is EU, means this CHMP is given by the European Committee, which means Committee on Medicinal Products for Human Use. Next come to the CIOMS. Student, now we are coming on our country India. CIOMS is basically the Council for International Organization of Medical Sciences. Okay, International Organization of Medical Sciences. Again in the India we have in the New Delhi the center of CIOMS. Next is the CRO, Contract Research Organization. It basically focuses on the different types of clinical trials, different phases of clinical trials. You already know we have phase 0, phase 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 is nothing but the PV or which is earlier named as PMS studies. So, CRO is the Contract Research Organization are the people or the a group of committee members who are involved to conduct or to run a smooth clinical trial. Okay. Basically, these are the CRO are responsible for conduction, proper maintenance and conduction of clinical trial. Next come to the triple D, capital DDD. It means defined daily dose, means again most of you observe, like when we are affected or any one in our family or society affected from any chronic disease. So, they go to meet the physician for their checkup. So, the physician or the doctor prescribe the defined daily dose for getting its optimum health. Okay. So, this is the daily defined dose. It is given as per mg per kg body weight of an adult individual, and it is different from male to female, gender wise it differs. Apart from that, it differs when we are talking about the children dose, means pediatric, and when we are talking about the geriatrics, means elderly. Okay, students. Next come to the DIA, which is the Drug Information Association. Next, DSRU is the Drug Safety Research Unit. It is of United Kingdom, Southampton. Okay, the city Southampton give this DSRU, that is Drug Safety Research Unit. Next is DTC, which is Direct to Consumer. DTC means the facilities or the medicament or the medical devices or some biologic products, means or blood related products, like we have complete blood cell counts, packed cell volumes or different blood group packets, which is directly available to the needy or the consumers. Next is DTP. P means patient. These are the facilities, health related facilities which is provided directly to the patients. Next, coming to the EEA, which is the European Economic Area. Next, EMA, European Medicines Agency. These all E are related to European Union. So, you have to remember European Economic Area and EMA, European Medicines Agency. Next is the ENC in capital, E in small, then again PP, ENCEPP. It means European Network of Centers for Pharmacoepidemiology and Pharmacovigilance based studies. Okay. EU, again we have European Union. Again E2B. So, when we are talking about E2B, students, we have E1, E2, E2B, E2 may we have E2A, E2B, E2C, then E3. So, these are the efficacy. Here E stands for the efficacy related parameters of any class of drug. So, E2B, exactly about this you go to the ICH guidelines, which is nothing but the International Conference or Harmonization, you will find these guidelines. So, it is the current international standard for ADR reporting, which is developed by the ICH. Next is the FDA. I hope you all know about the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. So, it is given by the US regulatory bodies. Sometimes you will find that US FDA, which means United States Food Drug Administration, and it is prepared by the UMC. I hope you know UMC means Uppsala Monitoring Center in the year 2012 in the month of January, and its last updated version is we have in August 2013 2/4. Next is FIC, again given by WHO, which is known as the Family of International Classification. FIP, International Pharmaceutical Federation. FOI, FOI means, students, freedom of information. We know, we all have to know about what different class of drugs the physician prescribe us for specific diseases. Then FTP, File Transfer Protocol. Next is the GACVS, means Global Advisory Committee on Vaccine Safety. It is given by the WHO. Next is GCP, Good Clinical Practices. GVSI, WHO Global Vaccine Safety Initiative. I means initiative. what different amendments or changes we have to include for the proper healthy immunization or prescribing the vaccines to different class of patients. GXP, generic term for good practices, and it is requirement for the pharmaceutical industry. Next we have IC. IC is terminology used during the clinical trial, and it is known as the informed consent form, ICF or IC in short, informed consent. Next is ICD, International Classification of Disease. We already covered this PowerPoint presentation in our previous lectures. Next is ICDRA, International Conference for the Drug Regulatory Authorities, or you can say Drug Regulatory Affairs. Next, ICH, International Conference or Harmonization of Technical Requirements for the registration of pharmaceutical products for the human use. Next is ICSR, Individual Case Safety Report. WHO ART is the WHO, ART means Adverse Reaction Terminology. Next is WHO CC, CC here is WHO Collaborating Centers. Few more are JPMA, Japanese Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association. Then we have INN, INN you also covered in our previous classes, International Non-Proprietary Name, basically for the pharmaceutical substances. IPCS, International Program on Clinical Safety. ISO, International Organization of Standardization. ISOP, International Society of Pharmacovigilance. ISPE, International Society for Pharmacoepidemiology. So, students, these are different, we can say societies for various epidemiological and PV studies. Then MAH, Market Authorization Holder, it is prepared by the UMC. Then we have MED-DRA, MED means medicine and or medical, DRA means Drug Regulatory Authority, or you can say Drug Regulatory Affairs. Then we have MHRA, Medicine and Healthcare Product Regulatory Agency, given by the United Kingdom. MSH, Medical Science for Health. MASO, MSSO, it is very important, you have to remember this MASO, it is the Maintenance and Support Services Organization. Basically, we will go in our next lecture, this is for MEDRA, MED-DRA. Next is the NC, National Center for PV Studies. NCE, New Chemical Entity. NDA, New Drug Approval. NGO, you already know, non-governmental organizations. NME, New Molecular Entity. NRA, National Regulatory Authority. Then we have POM, means prescription only medicines, those class of drugs or medicaments which you can get only by showing your prescription, which is given by the doctor. Then PRAC, PRAC, Pharmacovigilance Risk Assessment Committee, provided by the EMA. EMA means, students, European Medicine Agency. Then we have PSM, Procurement and Supply Management. PSUR, Periodic Safety Update Report. PV is nothing but the pharmacovigilance, earlier name as PMS, Post Marketing Surveillance, and WHO, you know, World Health Organization. Next is PCC, which is the Poison Control Center. PDR, Physician's Desk Reference. Reference means the source. By following that source, the physician prescribe you the medicament or the therapy. PDS, Pharmacoepidemiological and Drug Safety, it is nothing but the journal, one journal. PDS. PEM, Prescription Event Monitoring. PEP, FAR, it is the US President Emergency Plan for the patients which are affected from AIDS. Okay. Then PHRMA is the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers Association. QSM, it is again, QSM is prescribed by the WHO, which is nothing but the Quality Assurance and Safety of Medicines. Then PIL, Package Insert Leaflet. PMDA, Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices Agency in Japan. PMS is the earlier name of PV, Post Marketing Surveillance. SMQ, Standardized MED-DRA Query, we will see in our few next lecture. WHO, Western African Health Organization. SOC is the system organ class. SPC, summary or the leaflet provided by the drug finished product for the product categorization. TGA is the Therapeutic Good Administration given by the Australia country. THIN, THIN is the Health Improvement Network by UK. TSR, Targeted Spontaneous Reporting. UMC, you already know, is the Uppsala Monitoring Center, which is the PV head. And GVP, again it is important, you have to remember, you all have to remember this. Good Pharmacovigilance Practices. VAERS, Vaccine Adverse Reaction or Adverse Event Reporting System. WHODD, WHO Drug Dictionary, and WHO DDE, WHO Drug Dictionary Enhance. Okay students, this is the difference of E in both the terminologies. So this is all about PV related important terminologies. See you in our next lecture. Bye bye.